The B20 Summit wraps up today in Sandton. Let's cross back to our reporter Liabo, who joins us for more. Good afternoon, Liabo. Just share with us the very latest on your end.
Hi, Mfundo. Well, we're building up to the address of the President. We're expecting him to be here in about an hour from now. As you know, today is the last day of the B20 and working towards coming to you where you are at Nasrec, where that final G20 meeting is going to be taking place. I've invited Abel Sakau, the Chief Sustainability Officer of Sanlam, just to give his reflection on this last day. What has worked, what has not worked, and what kind of message is he expecting from the President, who will be doing a keynote address. Mr. Sakau, thank you so much. Welcome to SABC News. Your reflections on how the B20 has gone since yesterday. Oh, well, actually, it's been the third day. Today is the third day that it is taking place. Give me your reflections about what has worked and what could have been done better.
Yeah, I think the conversation that is happening and the commitment from business is very encouraging, because I think African business is putting their a commitment to saying this is the recommendations that are coming from an African perspective, and they deal with core issues that we have on the continent in terms of youth unemployment, the skilling, the infrastructure rollout, the financing of infrastructure on the continent. And it's encouraging to see African business saying, this is our continent. We have a responsibility to make sure that we can put our money to make sure we solve African issues. Yes. But also saying with one voice that if the challenges and the issues that are confronting Africa today are not solved from a global perspective, the global economic system is also going to be affected, because this is a continent where it has a lot of opportunities to drive global economic development. Yes. And we then need to make sure we can invest. And that's the message that's coming across, especially on youth skilling, infrastructure development, and also how do we see the risk when it comes to financing projects on the continent, to say we need to approach it from a different perspective. We can't use all the old methods of evaluating risk, because some of those methods are not appropriate and are outdated, for the current environment that we live in. And also to say we can also see green shoots where Africa is starting to lead in terms of digital penetrations. We are now leapfrogging some of your traditional banking systems, and African youth and people on the continent are using more of those type of innovations. Then the question becomes, how then do you need to make sure that you can join the traditional banking way of doing things and the new innovations that are coming from a digital platform and innovation that comes from places like Kenya? To say how do we make sure we can enhance that, and we can expand and scale some of those innovative ideas.
Yeah. My colleague Mbalenhle Mthethwa is just outside here in Sandton and monitoring the traffic flow and safety aspect. From the delegates that you have interacted with, who are non-South African, of course, what have they said about the country?
I think, South Africans, we are known to be too critical about our country. And having conversations with people who are coming from other parts of the continent, in Europe, they're quite optimistic in terms of what this country can deliver. You just needed to be in the opening act to actually experience the emotional power that South Africa has, when you look at the performance, that was displayed there. To say this is a country that has got potential, but it's a country that also has challenges. But those challenges are not insurmountable, that we cannot overcome some of those challenges. So I think everyone who's here are here not because they wanted only to attend the B20, but they are here because they believe in South Africa. And we also as a society, we also need to start believing in this country. Business people are committed to this country. Yeah. And business people are going to make sure that we deliver on the commitments that have been made out of this B20.
Yeah. Abel, before I let you go, rate this B20 out of 10 and the G20 overall throughout the year.
I think this has been exceptional. I had the privilege previously of attending the COP meetings, the United Nations meeting, which is pretty much similar type environment. I think we have done amazing. I'll give it a 9, in terms of also displaying the type of food that you find in the country. You eat here a Durban curry meal, So it has been a truly African B20, and it displays what this continent has.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I've been speaking to Abel Sekgau from Sanlam. He's the Chief Sustainability Officer there, and he gives it a 9 out of 10. And we're working towards having the President to come and do that address in a short while, I think in about an hour from now, so that he can close off the B20. And now we'll be focusing on the weekend. But let me allow you and give you back in studio so we can see what other things are happening out there with regards to this G20.
All right, yeah, well, thank you very much for that report, and I'm sure government will be quite pleased with that rating of a 9 out of 20 for their B20 and overall the G20 presidency. Well,